we want to thank you in advance for stating your name and who you represent. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, my name is Richard Jankovsky. I am president of the DPS Officers Association. That's who I'm representing today. My name is Richard Jankovsky. I'm the president of the Department of Public Safety Officers Association. DPSOA was created in 1974 and represents over 5,000 troopers, rangers, special agents, communication specialists, and forensic scientists. We also represent our retirees as well. Thank you for your time today. This morning, we heard Director McCraw talk about how dangerous and challenging modern-day policing has become. We also heard him talk about the great success stories of the employees of the Department of Public Safety. What we want to bring to the attention of this committee is the findings of the state auditor, who released a report last month that shows salaries of DPS troopers are far below average compared to those of local law enforcement, and the disparity between state and local law enforcement salaries has increased significantly since the last report. Since last session, 2 years ago, we jumped from 5 to 8% behind our 7 peer agencies to 12 to 16% behind in 2 years. A failure to act made us fall further behind. The last full adjustment to our salary schedule C was in 2013. If nothing is done this session to stop this gap, DPS troopers will have gone a decade without a base pay increase, while during this same time, requirements and responsibilities and duties of DPS officers have grown considerably. Director McCraw again this morning testified to the dynamics and the work of what our membership has done and continues to do. During our testimony to House Appropriations and Senate Finance in the past 2 weeks, we asked for their consideration to increase base pay, at least as suggested in option 1 of the state auditor's report. This recommendation does not make DPS the highest paid police agency in Texas. It simply brings us to the average of the 7 largest peer agencies in the state. And this morning, we also heard Director McCraw state that he supports the recommendations out of the state auditor's report. I would like to mention that, as the director mentioned, DPS has been very fortunate that this legislative body has given us the 50-hour work week, the EEP, the overtime program that we have worked for the past few years, but that is not a pay raise. And the fact of the matter is, the agency couldn't do its mission without this overtime program. It is used to fill gaps. It is used to extend our hours on the road. It extends our ability to provide services to the public. And it has provided some immediate financial relief to our members. However, none of it goes towards our retirement. It is doing some very beneficial things on the front end. On the tail end, though, none of it goes to our retirement. We're simply being paid money for hours that we have worked and money that we are owed. The 520 hours a year actually equates to 13 additional 40-hour weeks of work for each employee. That is 13 weeks a year that we are away from our families, we are away from our loved ones, and we are away from our ability to engage in activities other than work. It is not a raise. In addition, we've also testified about the need to support pay raises for DPS law enforcement communication operators. Modern-day communication operators must meet a high standard of service. They must be TCOL certified, undergo mandated training every 2 years, and many are bilingual. Operators work in a highly stressful, unpredictable, and fast-paced environment. And operator shifts must be staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Operators are entrusted with decisions that could mean life or death for Texans, and the starting salary for their job is $2,844.45 a month. These positions are becoming increasingly hard to fill, and a salary increase for DPS law enforcement communications operators would help recruit and retain exceptionally qualified personnel tasked with providing critical support for commissioned law enforcement. They work nights, they work holidays, they work weekends, and they are our lifeline. Without this vital component of every mission that our members engage in, there's a missing link that can't get the mission done. We have to have them. Finally, I want to share our concerns about the shortfalls in ERS and law enforcement and custodial officers supplemental retirement system known as LECOs. This shortfall developed because of inadequate state and employee contribution rates over time, unrealized investment return assumptions, and demographic pressures. The Texas legislature can and should take action this year by making a significant investment into the fund and committing to a long-term path that will bring ERS into balance in a way that meets retirees' needs. That includes remaining faithful to the system's traditional and historic structure, which safeguards the interest of young employees as it protects the livelihoods of retired ones. When the state fails to adequately fund ERS, it's harder to recruit good employees and it's harder to keep them. When people cannot be sure the state's commitment into its pension system. And that undermines the value of effectiveness of essential state employees. And until ERS is fully funded, we cannot do anything to adjust retirees' benefits that have, particularly those that have been retired for many years. There are retirees that have been retired for a long time, and as we know, there's no cost of living when you retire. There's no cost of living increases that are built into ERS. That's the way the system is designed. However, until it's actuarially sound, we can't even look at addressing those issues for those retirees. It's very important that the fund become actuarially sound. We are aware that COVID-19 interrupted our booming economy last year. However, economic and budget conditions are showing signs of improvement, and we want to keep these issues on the forefront of our discussions with the legislature. DPSOA and our members look forward to continuing our conversations with you about these and other important situations we face this session and beyond. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you so much for that layout. Members, any questions for Richard? Richard, thank you so much, and we know we'll be seeing more of you.
Yes, thank you for
throughout
having
the
us
next 2
today.
years, especially this session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.